So after trying out the Xiaomi 14 Ultra at MWC, I couldn't control my excitement. I had to import it and test it out. So here it is. We imported it from China, the Xiaomi 14 Ultra. And here is the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. So which one of these two is the real Ultra camera flagship phone? Let's find out. If you're here for the first time, I'm Ershad. You're watching Trakin English, your destination for detailed, incisive gadget reviews. So here are a couple of disclaimers that I want to make before we start off with the camera comparison itself, is that this is a Chinese unit, so the algorithm could be different from the global variant or the Indian one that has actually launched. And more importantly, the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra has seen a camera update, so this would be a fresh review for this phone as well. Alright, let's get down to the pictures. So the new LYT 900 1-inch sensor on the Xiaomi 14 Ultra captures a lot of details, and you can tell that it is superior compared to the 200MP camera on the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. The finer textures are very well defined on the Xiaomi phone. One of the other bigger advantages on the 14 Ultra is the physical variable aperture. So you can switch between f1.63, f2, f2.8 and f4 on the fly. Samsung shoots only at f1.7 for what it's worth. Now when you take a look at this picture, you can see how the focus plane keeps shifting until you can actually see more of the subject in focus. It's a game changer if you ask any photography enthusiast to have the aperture control in your hand. Okay, quiz time. There was a Samsung phone with variable aperture as well. Which was the first one? Let me know in the comment section below. Now Xiaomi 14 Ultra of course has the Leica branding because it works with Leica. Therefore there are two modes that you can choose from, Leica Authentic and Leica Vibrant. Those are the two color options that you get. But they're not actually color options, they're actually different kinds of looks. Let me explain. Now the difference between the Leica Vibrant and the Leica Authentic is the added contrast and the vignetting effect that is added. It does help in certain scenes like this one, but I preferred using the Leica Vibrant option for most of my shots. Now when we compare the Leica Vibrant shot to the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, Xiaomi is actually closer to neutral here, which kinda surprised me. The blue of the box, the red of the calendar and the color of my MacBook Air is closer to real life on the 14 Ultra compared to the S24 Ultra. Even in the second set of samples, Xiaomi's renditions of the blues, the greens and the reds are closer to accurate. Now Leica Vibrant doesn't necessarily mean that it is inauthentic or it is boosting the colors to make it look different from what your eyes see. It's actually reducing the contrast. It's sort of like a low contrast look of the Leica Authentic. But note that Leica Vibrant actually gives you authentic colors in non-HDR situations. When the HDR fires, the situation is slightly different. Let's talk about the HDR performance actually. Now in this scene of the room against a backlight, Xiaomi pulls in more details from the shadows and has far less noise compared to Samsung. Plus the highlight control is good as well. But the colors are completely off on Xiaomi with a heavy red cast. The same is true for the second image, which you can tell. But the highlights and shadows are superbly controlled on both and the gradation is so smooth. In fact, both the pictures look very similar in terms of the HDR reproduction. Now moving on to the low light pictures or the night mode shots, I actually expected the Xiaomi 14 Ultra's 1-inch sensor to sort of pull in way more light than the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. But Xiaomi has slightly different plans in terms of tuning the night mode shots. Now in this comparison sample, Samsung's algorithm makes the scene brighter, but the photo is definitely overprocessed. Take a look at the fiddle fig leaves and the basket holding it. The finer textures are over-sharpened to an extent that it looks unnatural. Xiaomi's processing is way more natural. So Xiaomi has a look that is very close to a proper camera compared to Samsung, which looks processed like, it's captured from a phone. But of course, there is noise in not just the 14 Ultra sample, but also Samsung. In fact, Samsung has green luminance noise as well. Now, while I do say noise is not necessarily bad as long as details are there, that is true in the case of Xiaomi 14 Ultra, but not in the case of this S24 Ultra because the luminance noise or the green luminance noise is an aberration and it doesn't look good. And when the algorithm fails, especially like in this scene, there's terrible banding in the night sky that you can see with the S24 Ultra's shot. Xiaomi's processing is just generally much cleaner in comparison. By the way, the Galaxy S24 Ultra is better at processing bright spots and controlling the highlights better than the Xiaomi 14 Ultra. Now look at the building's entry gate here. In the Leica Authentic mode, it's completely blown out. And while it is better in the Leica Vibrant, it is still not as good as Samsung. So when it comes to HDR performance, both are equally matched in daylight, but in low light, sometimes when there are brighter sources of light and when the night mode kicks in, then the S24 Ultra does a better job of actually controlling the highlights better. Alright, now let's move on to the situation where you will be using your camera the most probably is for shooting friends and family. And let me put one more disclaimer out here. The Chinese algorithms generally on Xiaomi phones do tend to make skin fairer. Skin tones are evidently better here. They're closer to neutral. They're not entirely neutral, but they're closer to it at least. But the details and dynamics of the light play on Arnav's face here is far superior on the 14 Ultra. That's something that you cannot deny. In HDR shots of people, you can again see the red cast raising its ugly head in Arnav's skin tone, but the highlight control and the contrast in the shadows looks really dynamic. In the second set of comparison samples, you can see the same pattern, and I like Samsung's dynamic range performance too. Now, portrait shots were really tricky for me to evaluate. Firstly, because Samsung offers you the option to shoot with the 5x camera, portrait shots with the 5x camera, whereas Xiaomi doesn't for some odd reason. The max Xiaomi can do is 75mm or 3.2x. But what I want to highlight is Samsung's skin tones at 5x. The portrait shot is gobsmackingly good. It is literally how Arnav's skin looks in real life. But the moment you switch to 3x, the skin tone rendition goes for a toss. And the details are better on Xiaomi too. By the way, the Xiaomi 14 Ultra's processing reminds me of the earlier Pixel phones, which used to be very contrast heavy. Now, moving on to low light portrait shots at 75mm on the Xiaomi 14 Ultra and 69mm on the S24 Ultra, the master portrait style on the 14 Ultra comes in really handy here. The play of light and shadow on Arnav's face plus the details and textures are so well reproduced by the 14 Ultra. Samsung's really low contrast look is not helping its cause here. But when you look at the edge detection and the bokeh drop-off, they're almost equally good on both, with the semantic segmentation being slightly better on the S24 Ultra. But if the picture's looking so good on the 14 Ultra, that's not really a huge win for the S24 Ultra, because the 14 Ultra also does decent edge detection and bokeh drop-off. In the second sample, I used the Leica portrait style, and the skin tones plus color science went for a toss on the 14 Ultra. But the light play and the details are still very impressive compared to the noise-ridden shot on the Samsung. But yes, Samsung keeps things natural here yet again, which by the way has been the biggest surprise for me. Now, as for the ultrawide, the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra's camera captures more details compared to the Xiaomi 14 Ultra. Now, the ultrawide color science consistency with the primary camera is good on both, nothing to tell the two apart really. However, ultrawide low light shots are also definitely far superior on the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. The nightography algorithm comes in super handy to retrieve lost details, plus the scene is exposed better. The 14 Ultra also messes up the highlight control once again. So for ultrawide, I think the S24 Ultra wins compared to the Xiaomi 14 Ultra. Alright, now let's check that telephoto performance, that zoom performance, and this one's going to be really exciting, trust me. Now, starting with the 2x in-sensor crop on both the phones, the Xiaomi 14 Ultra benefits from the big sensor, and you see more details plus sharper textures as well. Even the 3.2x telephoto on Xiaomi is sharper compared to the S24 Ultra's 3x. Take a look at the netting on the playground very closely. But at 5x, Samsung is sharper and more detailed. Now move on to 10x, Xiaomi pulls back a clear win in both the shots we've captured with much better definition and detail. And what's more surprising is that AI zoom mode that is there on the Xiaomi 14 Ultra, which is available in beta right now. Of course, let it be known that it works only in daylight, but it pulls in a lot of detail, and detail that doesn't look unnatural, which was very surprising to me. In most situations, when you zoom further than 10x, when you look at 30x, when you look at 60x and 100x, it matches with the S24 Ultra and is sometimes even better at defining or definition. In fact, take a look at the difference of the really zoomed in shots like the 30x, 60x and 100x with AI on and AI off on the Xiaomi 14 Ultra. It is absolutely mad how good of an implementation this really is. And considering this is in beta right now, and at some point it will go out of beta, I can't wait to see what the Xiaomi 14 Ultra will do with zoom. I don't know if Samsung will continue to be the zoom king now, but Samsung does pull back a win, especially in low light. At 3.2x low light, the Xiaomi 14 Ultra looks closer to reality, yes, but Samsung offers more details with the algorithm helping the punched in shot. Now at 5x low light too, Samsung does pull in more details, but the 14 Ultra looks more natural. Make what you want of that information, but technically Samsung is superior with better detail retention and HDR performance as well. Xiaomi of course gets the look right. Overall though, when you look at the tele performance, I would think that most people would want to use the telephoto camera in daylight situations, and in that scenario, Xiaomi actually beats Samsung. Surprising, right? Also on the Xiaomi 14 Ultra, you can shoot macro with the ultrawide, with the 3.2x and the 5x cameras. In selfies, the Galaxy S24 Ultra offers slightly better details. HDR selfies on the Xiaomi 14 Ultra has better highlights, but the Galaxy S24 Ultra has the better skin tones. HDR portraits have better edge cutout and a cleaner bokeh drop-off on the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. And when you look at the low light selfies, do I even need to say it? You know which one's better, right? It's the S24 Ultra. So when it comes to selfies, I would pick the S24 Ultra over the Xiaomi 14 Ultra. Alright, now let's talk about video recording. And the 4K 60 FPS video recording quality on both are pretty neck to neck. You get the same amount of details, the HDR performance is nearly similar, stabilization is almost equally good, and the sound recording quality difference is indistinguishable too. But the look of the video in terms of the color and the contrast is different. Samsung has this flat look compared to the slightly contrast heavy look of Xiaomi. This is a 4K 60 FPS non-HDR video sample shot on the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra and the Xiaomi 14 Ultra. This is what the quality looks like, walking with the phones. What do you guys think of the quality? In ultrawide video, both are very close in terms of, the video quality to each other, even more so than the primary video recording, which is also true for the telephoto videos at both 3.2x and 5x. However, in selfie video recording, the differences are immediately apparent. You get a wider field of view on Xiaomi, but better dynamic range on Samsung. You get better skin tones on Xiaomi, but better sound recording quality on Samsung. Alright, so now we're recording a 4K 60 FPS video using the front camera on the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra and the Xiaomi 14 Ultra. The dynamic range seems to be better on Samsung because it doesn't blow out the highlights, but I'll pan around slightly and show you guys what that looks like. Yeah. But here's another shocker. The Xiaomi 14 Ultra's low light video performance is better than the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. And this is something that I didn't expect at all. It controls noise better, it pulls in way more details compared to Samsung's, which is grainy, very grainy. But yes, I saw a few more lens flares on the 14 Ultra compared to the Samsung, but the footage quality is just leaps and bounds better. The same is true for 4K 60 FPS selfie video recording as well. The quality difference is there for you to see on your screen right now. Now, you know that cinematic mode where you get the portrait bokeh? Xiaomi has that too. It's called movie mode. And with that, when you shoot, you can shoot only at 1080p 30 FPS, whereas Samsung can do at 4K 30 FPS. But with Xiaomi, what you get are those special black and white filters and the fact that, the focus switching can happen dynamically as well. And it works really well. Both of these look pretty good. But overall, when you look at video recording quality, I can't believe I'm seeing this. The Xiaomi 14 Ultra is actually the winner compared to the S24 Ultra. In fact, I have a feeling that the 14 Ultra could come very close to the 15 Pro Max in terms of video recording quality. Now, as for the extras, you get the Galaxy AI features on the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. We've spoken at length about it in many of our videos already. Now, Xiaomi 14 Ultra, on the other hand, has a bunch of extra camera-specific features. For example, there's a master cinema mode with which you can actually shoot using the preset LUTs that are available. You can also shoot 10-bit log at 4K 60 FPS, not just with the primary, but also with the ultrawide, with the 3.2x and even the 5x at 4K 60 FPS. And once you've shot the video in the gallery app, you can actually import your custom LUTs and apply and take a render out. How crazy is that? You can also shoot slow motion video at 1920 frames per second at full HD video recording quality. You can also shoot 4K 120 FPS videos on the Xiaomi 14 Ultra. Plus, there's this fast shot option. Basically, you can set your required settings, preset that in the settings of the camera app. And the moment you press the volume button, it'll immediately take a shot. And photographers will also love the fact that you do get a special photography kit as well, which basically gives you an additional grip with a 1500 mAh battery inside and a shutter button, a physical shutter button too. Of course, you'd have to buy that separately. So overall, when you look at it purely from the perspective of shooting photos and capturing videos, the Xiaomi 14 Ultra is a better phone than the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. And this is just the Chinese variant of the phone that we've been testing. Imagine if the algorithm is better on the Indian and the global variant, and it will keep getting better at some point as well. Although, talking about the Galaxy S24 Ultra, it's not like the S24 Ultra has a bad set of cameras. It's pretty good. In fact, at the 5x portrait level, the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra's portraits look fantastic. And the low light shots have improved a lot with nightography as well. What's also surprising to me is that Samsung is actually doing close to neutral skin tones. Wow, that's something that I thought I'd never see. So yeah, what did you guys think of this comparison? You've seen the pictures. Which one did you prefer? Let me know in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep tracking and stay safe.